205 Live. So it was announced recently that WWE will have an exclusively cruiserweight show that'll be taking place immediately after SmackDown, and it'll be up on the WWE Network. Now, I have been vocal about my issues with the booking of the Cruiserweight division, or as I like to call it now, the Hobo Fight League, because it's WWE getting a collection of the saddest individuals on the fucking planet and having them fight each other for our entertainment. It seems like some shit that I imagine rich people do stuff like this behind the scenes. But Vince McMahon, he has a platform and he just does it for millions of people each and every week. But I've been vocal about my disapproval of the way that the cruiserweights have been handled, but there's a lot to process with this. And call me selfish, but I'm thinking, what the hell is happening with Talking Smack? Like, I like that 1-2 punch on Tuesdays where you watch SmackDown and immediately go over to Talking Smack, but apparently that show is going to be pushed back an hour to accommodate the Cruiserweight show, and yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, and people, by the way, we are not talking about Raw Talk. That show is already shitty just by stealing the gimmick. Episode. And as far as this whole 205 Live thing, when I heard, again, you knew once you heard 205, that was a hinty name by Triple H. But honestly, once I heard this announced and I heard it was going to be an hour show featuring the showcase of the Cruiserweights, I was immediately thinking, I hope this isn't going to be anything like Superstars or Main Event being like a secondary show. Because honestly, that's my fear, because this whole thing to me just shows they don't know what the hell to do with the Cruiserweights on Raw.
It's not it's a certain individual or a collective of individuals headed by, let's just say it, Vince McMahon. It leads me to question some things, because the Cruiserweights are technically they're part of the Raw roster, but they aren't treated like they're part of the Raw roster. They're treated as a separate entity, and they're not even given that respect. But I feel like this platform, giving them something to do, is a better way to showcase their talents. But it makes me wonder, does that mean that there just won't be any Cruiserweights on Raw? And does that mean that, so SmackDown's being, occurring live, it's being taped, and then the hour after SmackDown comes on, now this goes on. Okay, that's cool, but does that mean, Talking Smack gets pushed back an hour later? It makes me wonder, are they still considered part of the Raw roster? Are they their own entity in and of themselves? Can they jump back and forth? Because this kind of ambiguity here, we'll kind of just have to see as it plays out. But it makes me wonder, are we going to have that issue where we have with some NXT stars where they develop some kind of prowess, some kind of following on this one program, and then when they show up on the main roster, that doesn't translate over. So I certainly hope that we get something of continuity with this new program.
That's what I don't think that we're going to get with this show, because if it's only going to be an hour, I seriously don't think we'll get any kind of storytelling that we got out of the Cruiserweight Classic. I honestly really just see this show as just being something like I said, like Superstars, where you see certain Cruiserweights from the Raw roster just compete on that one show, like just them, and just a way for them to showcase their own talents when most of them aren't even given a time to develop their own characters on Raw. So I honestly see this just be more of a wrestling show.
This one is a little iffy for me, because I'm wondering, is what we're going to get from the Cruiserweights, is it even worth going out of my way to watch this show?
Mm-hmm.
Because if this is just going to be the Raw creative team, the team that has handled the Cruiserweights for the entirety of them being on the main roster, so everything after the Cruiserweight Classic, is it going to be just that team handling the Cruiserweights? Is it just going to be, what we saw on Monday Night Raw in its own show? Because if that's the case, then
I'll take a pass.
Yeah, I hope you kept your receipt, because you can take this shit back to the store. This is not what I was going for. So I guess if they are doing this to provide an opportunity for the Cruiserweight division overall to be booked in some way, the same way that the Cruiserweight Classic was being booked, then this could possibly have some kind of value to it. And that's something that's worth exploring. But if this is going to be just a status quo where it's like, well, you have grown to know of the Cruiserweights,
just matches,
we're just on Tuesday now. Nope, I'll pass on that.
Not to mention when you're pretty much, like I said, I it's just be a wrestling show where you don't get no storyline progression. You'll probably rarely see the champion every single week. Like, is this really going to be like a world of their own that they can like grow and develop?
Like a full universe of a full world, and all of the implications that come along with that. Talking about the character development, storylines, and things like this. Because if this is just going to be like superstars or main event for the Cruiserweights, then that I good for the people who watch it, but I won't be one of those people if that's the case.
It's like, the question is, do we need an extra hour of wrestling television to watch? Because we've already got, if you only watch Raw and SmackDown, you've got 5 hours. Well, if you count Raw Talk I'm not counting Raw Talk. So if you count Talking Smack, you've got 5.5 hours. So add this to it, 6.5. That's more than a quarter of a day. That's kind of a lot to be asking here, and I certainly hope that the Cruiserweights get something of their own world to work within, because the CWC was perfect. I mean, the only real thing you needed to tell the stories was the workmanship that was being displayed in the ring and the vignettes and the video packages used to build up the matches. You didn't have to have somebody talking on a microphone and having a backstage segment and having a walking section every time somebody approached the ring. And I think this new program, if it's booked anything like NXT or the CWC, it has a lot of room to grow. But once again, if it's just the Raw team, I'll take a pass.